Okay, I think we are live, and welcome to all of you wonderful, wonderful people who have joined already here in the chat. Now, um, just got news that USA is now defined as being in recession, and as you know, um, when the economy is ah, me and your language English, sorry. What's the word? Uh, when you have a negative growth, that's not growth. That's things going the wrong way. When you have uh, the economy is not going up, but it's actually going down in two quarters, one after the other, then you have a recession by definition. Uh, if you can, if you can guess the words I was looking for there, you can let me know in the chat. So I think everyone knew that this was going to happen because all the numbers were pointing towards the American economy being negative or having negative growth in this quarter as well, the second quarter of the year. So we are going to talk about what this means, um, and I think that don't feel so lonely. We will soon follow. Sorry. I'm in Norway and I was talking to you Americans. Don't feel so lonely in your recession. We will follow very soon. Um, so, yeah, and Bas Klotwijk, yes, second stream today. I'm normally not doing consecutive. Yes, two consecutive quarters of negative growth. Yes, that's what I was trying to say. That's what we are seeing now, and numbers are in, and it's in the news here, at least to Norway now. Um, and it's interesting, and we should talk about it because one, I see a lot of people now saying that no, it doesn't really matter because this is not really that kind of a recession. That's funny. Why would they say that? Uh, and two, um, when you have a recession, um, it does something to the mental state, if you will, the mood in the economy. Okay, the word will be thrown around a lot now, and I am 100% certain that there are people out there with a lot of money invested who don't really deal with their investments themselves. But when they hear that we are now in a recession, they have that will trigger certain decisions to remove money, maybe take money out of the stock market, invest in gold, or maybe overseas property. I don't know. But that word, that definition means something. And when you have that, technically, when you have a recession, it will trigger certain decisions. I'm 100% certain of that. I would, I would if I was had money invested in the USA, I would think twice about my investments now. So, but why are these journalists and politicians saying that? No, it's not really a recession. Now, I have a news article here, and I'm not that advanced yet when it comes to live streaming that I can pull it up on the screen, and it is in Norwegian, by the way. But uh, the recession, the word has no meaning anymore. Someone says here. And I'm going to just quickly go through this because it's quite interesting. It's not a recession, says a chief economist, Marius Gonsolt Hov in the Handelsbanken, that's a bank in Norway. It's not technically a recession because um, the the job market is so strong. That's what he's saying. um, and Jerome Powell from Fed said that he doesn't think that the economy is in recession. Um, and I have to say this. Would these people have said that if Trump was president now? But maybe an even more important question is, would there have been a recession if Trump was president now and his people was in charge? I'm just asking the question, okay? Because I think a lot of people are asking themselves that question. Let's just put it that way. And another economist here in that's actually the bank where I have some money. He says that I wouldn't make a big drama about this. Yeah. Yeah, and another one here. All the usual suspects, and they are they've been wrong. Have been wrong lately in most things. So that's worth mentioning. I know what I think. I think that the USA is in a recession, and I think that the technical term of recession is a good one and that it matters. Call me crazy, but that's what I think. So, Matthew, thanks a lot for the super chat, and Skål to you as well. Wonderful. Thanks a lot. Okay, I'll just scroll down here. Jonna, good to see you. Good to see you as always. And just under Jonas' comment there, says Methuselah, it's going to get worse. Yes, I think so too. I think so too. And a lot of people will start struggling with paying their mortgage. That's going to affect the housing market, or what do you call it, the property market. And I don't think Jesus Christ has anything to do with anything here, but I do think that a lot of people will start making decisions based on emotion and fear. They are asking themselves, should I get out of this market? Should I pull my money out of this? Should I start investing in another country, in some other assets? And when enough people start asking themselves those questions, your economy will be affected. The USA is the American economy is a leading economy in the world. So whatever happens there likely affects all of us. So this matters. This matters. Now, when it comes to the unemployment thing, low unemployment, it's that's what they're saying. Well, now it's not really the recession because the unemployment is low. I don't know how it works in America, but in my part of the world, what it's a fact that the government can manipulate those numbers a lot. I don't want to get into details there, but how many people are really unemployed? I'm just saying that numbers can be manipulated, and they likely will be manipulated if you have a government that wants to make things look a little bit more pretty than they really are. And your Democrats certainly are that kind of politicians. They don't like to admit their errors, do they? Okay, so at this point, I would like to say, here's what we should do. But I'm not a financial advisor. Um, I think that in general, it is wise not to get too emotional about this. It is wise to adapt, and try to be smart. Um, and this might sound like, that's common sense. Yeah, but in a situation like this, a lot of people lose that common sense, you know? So, for instance, I still have money invested in the stock market. Some of those I've lost a bit money on. I'm not pulling that out now. Um, if I have to, I'll leave that money there for 10 years, Um, so yeah, okay. Um, and the interesting thing here is another interesting thing. Yes, inflation, of course. Thanks for reminding me. That's the killer, you know. Um, and you all know how this works. Okay, so if you have money saved up, when you have inflation, the inflation will make that money worthless. So that's one of the reasons why I and many other preppers are saying that, and this hasn't anything to do with prepping. It really hasn't. It's just common sense. Um, if there is something that you need, you should probably get that now. That could be moving to a different location, getting maybe a homestead, I don't know. Maybe stock up on food and supplies. The prices are rising. So whatever you can invest, and yes, I like to use such a word because it's an investment actually in in what's the I don't there's a term for it actually. Something that in itself has value. Like if there was no money, that thing would have value. Like an apple. An apple has a value in its calories and vitamins and its food, right? And a piece of land has value in itself. You can actually trade land with other people, even if there is no money. So, commodity. Okay, yeah, um, yeah. Thank you. I learn a lot of English from the chat. So, the point here is that I would look at those options now, but I would not trade all my money into another asset that you think that is better. Well, you could from an investment standpoint, but getting the stuff that you will need is probably wise. And you know, okay, yeah. So again, I'm not your financial advisor, so it's like health advice. I wouldn't give. I would be careful to not appear as your doctor, right? So I'm saying the same here. Um, you will have to make those decisions yourself, and I know you will. A lot of people are not in position to do that. And here's another thing, um, people who have mortgage, uh, Most people have a mortgage on their house and so on. And this is obvious, right? Why are not people talking about this? Um, it shrinks the mortgage, not the house. It shrinks. Either Trond Arnfinn, either. So please take that into account as well. Your mortgage shrinks because it's like with your savings; they shrink when there's inflation. Um, but of course, they are trying to. They not only trying, but they are increasing the interest rate as well. So I still think, and that's my personal opinion, that having a mortgage is might be necessary, but if you can get rid of that mortgage, that's a good thing. But we also need to keep in mind that with a high inflation, your mortgage shrinks, right? Okay. So, um, let's see here. Now, I was in university. I studying economics, so I should probably have brushed up on my. I have all the books, still. So I should have brushed up on those because they are all in English. So there I would have found. Now, are they all in English? Well, most of them were in English. So I would have had all the right terms for what's happening now. Um, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's the things that you need that matters. Nobody cares if you have $1 million in the bank or gold or crypto. If everything breaks down and there's a food shortage, then nobody will care. Not saying that's going to happen. Well, sorry. Yes, food shortage. Yes, that's happening now. I'm not saying that society will break down completely or anything like that. But if it does, you know, having the stuff you need to survive and thrive is important. That would be important then. And then you would see that wealth is, at the end of the day, not so much about how many millions of dollars you have in the bank, if you know what I mean. As long as the infrastructure of society is working, that is of course a means of storing your wealth and giving you freedom to do things you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. But you know what I mean here. Okay. um okay. So I need to sort out the live streaming thing here because I see other people who are much better at this. They highlight some comments, and can I do that? Let's see here. No, but I'll read it. Yoda's. Well, I can't read the name there, but Lestrade, he's the survivor man. If you didn't know, says the survivor's skill set will save you, not a stored food supply. It is a good point. I still believe that it is wise, very wise, to have a food supplies, and but it's essential actually. But it is a good point that we also need to practice our survival skills. Okay. Um, so as Steve says, I agree, but stored food is common sense. Absolutely. Um, so I would say that in if we're talking about, a proper SHTF situation, society breaks down. Um, your food sources can be, you will have three categories of food sources, right? You will have what you have stored. So that's cans and jars and stuff. You will have what you can grow, or livestock and so on, and you will have what you can hunt and forage. Out of those, I would say the most essential one for most people would be what you have stored in your cans and boxes and jars and yeah. Okay. So and as Eugleton uh, says, stored food, survival skills, and many other things will be necessary. That further reinforces how important it is to build your support network. You can't do it alone. Yes, like a family group is a lot better than being alone. I I think that you shouldn't band up with wrong choice of word there, but you know what I mean. With people you don't fully trust. Um, Family is good, Family is key here, if you ask me. Um, yeah, and also as one Sun observer says, stored food does and will not last as long as you think. Yeah, if you try to count the calories, if you start there, you look at what you have stored, and you try to, most likely things will be more physically demanding in a situation like that, so you will use more calories. So let's say, just take a number, 3,000 calories a day. That's KCAL. Um, and you will be amazed at how much space it takes up, if you multiply that by, let's say, you're a family of four, um, that's 12,000 calories a day. Um, so you will need a lot of food. It will not last forever. Yeah. Dannevirke says most people do not realize how awful all of this will be. The incoming global famine will result in the biggest death toll in human history, potentially. And I made a video about the coming uh, food shortage and famine. And sadly, it has started. It's just that it's not so much in the news, but there's a famine in several African countries now. Like it's it's just awful, you know. It's awful, and they get hit by this first, and then it will spread. If you ask me, I think it will spread, and then you will see food getting even more expensive, and we don't know how far it will reach. We all like to think that we are safe here in this country, and let's hope that's true. But a lot of people will face um, food shortage. It's I don't know how to put this, because people will say, no, we don't have a food shortage. A lot of people will say that, yes, we certainly do. But what everyone is doing is that they are looking at when they go and buy food, do they have food here? If they have, they will say, no, there is no food shortage. if they haven't, they will say there is a food shortage. Why don't we all try to look outside a little bit further away, right? Because when it hits, it will be from one day to the other. It's not like it's gradual. They will keep selling food until there is no food, and that's from one day to another. uh, yeah. So, yeah, that's a good point. Ad captandum vulgus. Not now that the recession, but more like is still in recession. Yes, absolutely. It's just that the definition is 2 consecutive quarters. So that's you have 4 quarters in a year, so that's half a year, and with a negative growth, that's when you can say that technically we now have a recession, and that's where we are now. Well, I don't think in Norway, but that reached the news here today, um, and it's in the USA, and it will affect, well, maybe the world economy. It does something to the mental state of investors and so on and so on. Yeah, okay. So, Laurie says there are truckers and grocery industry people saying that what is currently in the warehouses is it's all. I don't doubt that. But I've also heard that, I heard that like a month or 2 months ago. But at some point, that will be the situation. Not doubting your statement there at all. Uh, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that uh, that is probably true in some areas, but not all areas. But this will start spreading. It did help a lot, I believe, that Russia and the Ukraine reached a deal. That's interesting that they were able to make a deal on getting the grain out of Ukraine. And I talked about that in the video. Not the deal, but it kind of surprised me actually that they did. But that will help the situation. Um, but I think it's too late. Okay. I know they bombed. Yeah, they did. They did. GB, good to see you. So I wonder if that was like the infrastructure in the Russian system there not working properly, or if it was like some kind of sick power play there. uh, so, but they still, I think, if I'm not misinformed on this one, they still kept the deal on that with the thing with the grain. Uh, yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm not going to get into ideas. Oh, no, that was false, and no, let's just stay with what we know, and let's not speculate too much, because I think we don't have enough information to do that. Okay, so let's stick to the topic as well. I'm not going to keep talking here for very long, but let's just realize that, one, the USA is now technically in a recession, and two, they are trying to, well, journalists, politicians, and so on, trying to redefine what a recession is. Now, it's not really a recession. That's what they're saying, as I mentioned. That's interesting, isn't it? And as I said, would they have said that if Trump was president now? But then again, would America even have gotten to this if Trump was president now? Um, I'm not saying that I'm such a big fan of Trump, but compared to what you have going on there now, um, it would probably have been wise to have someone with a grasp of how economy works to lead in charge of the thing now. I'm just saying that that's what I think. That would have been great right now. That's what you want. So, uh, I know who I would have voted for so it will be interesting to see. I saw Trump's speech. He hinted on running for president again. I don't see that old criminal in the White House being physically able to run for president for a second term. Don't see that happening. So it will be, but who knows? Who knows? It's amazing what it, I wouldn't be too surprised actually, but it's like you're entering the Twilight Zone or something, comedy hour. I don't know. Um, Crazy idea, why? Why? Oh, okay, I won't get into that too much, but it's a bit it's a bit Spider TV. Thanks a lot for the donation. It says a duck is a duck. Calling it a flat-billed chicken doesn't make it any less of a duck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think it will be interesting to see what happens. Would be great, maybe. It's not for me to decide, obviously, but I'm just what I was going to say was that why not get someone who's not a senior citizen to run for president? I don't know. It's like it's become an old man's game. Okay. Gumbubble says, here's another question. Who would you rather have run your country? Someone who knows how deals and best businesses help your country thrive, or a politician whose personal interests take priority? Yeah, that's a good point. And Liu Price says Trudeau is young. That's another good point. Yeah. Yes. I take it back. Okay. Because I think that's, you know, yeah. Let's not get into a rant here. Let's try not to do that. uh, yeah. Yeah, they're selected, not elected. And I have mentioned this before. I was briefly a few years ago involved in local politics here. So I was kind of talked into running for or be on one of those lists for the local county elections here. And I it was not for me, but I got to see how the whole thing works, and I saw that it's not politics and who gets positions, their political positions. It's not a meritocracy, it's a popularity contest. It's not the best qualified people who becomes, prime ministers and presidents and so on. It's those people who knew the right people, who were popular. Um, yeah. So, um, hi there, Imran QQQ from California. So, yeah, they don't like Trump, do they? He, I have to say this. Sometimes he's a little bit. It's difficult to like him. You know, it's difficult to like him. But these people, the swamp, they don't like him because he doesn't play their games. I have a problem with the mannerisms, the way he's talking about himself. It comes off. It's like it's especially for a Norwegian. It's We don't like that. We don't like that behavior. And legalized freedom says it's not a recession if they change the definition. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if they will be working on changing the definition now. I wouldn't be surprised because that's what they do, right? That's what they do. It's changed the definition of a woman, so yeah, yeah, that is funny. Now you can travel to Norway. No, they won't come with us there with that little stick or anything. I can't travel to the USA though, um, because I haven't had the poke in the shoulder. you know, uh, what's that? Bunting clover leaf map? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, luckily I won't be able to run for president. Yeah. Um, yeah. So now I can't even travel to the USA, or as I was told, I made a video about that actually. I mentioned that, and same goes for Canada. Um, and it's like it's crazy. Why are you, not you guys, but people in charge in those countries, why are they still going on with that? Because it's been dropped in, well, England. They don't have, in UK, no such rules. Why? I would like to come visit, but I can't. Um, yeah, I think I can go to the UK. Let me, as unpoked. Let me know if I'm wrong on that one. Uh, so, yeah, come up through the southern border. Now, if I go to a country, I have certain standards. I want to do it in some comfort, you know. So, UK is no good. Well, is it because they won't let me in? Last time I checked, I could just go there. All restrictions are gone. Yes. Okay. That's what I thought. And I think, no, I hope, I don't know what I think, but I hope that it will remain that way, at least outside of the European Union. So UK is not in the European Union, Norway is not in the European Union, so at least we have that. So maybe we can be a little bit more unaffected. That's what I hope, but I think that the politicians secretly, not even secretly, but they want our countries to be part of the EU. They are big fans of the EU. Okay. Yeah, it's one of the only advantages of Brexit. I respectfully disagree, but it's not for me to decide. I'm not a UK citizen, so I'll just hold up my hands there, and but I'm very happy that the UK left the EU. Yeah. Uh, okay. I think that we're discussing a lot of different topics in the chat now, so I'm trying to keep an eye on it. I haven't heard the thing with traveling money. There is no requirement to have money in your pocket to enter Norway. So yeah, I don't know about the UK. If the UK is in a recession, technically in a recession, I don't know. But it will be interesting to see if other countries also join the club or have joined the club. Smaller countries we don't even hear about in Norwegian news. If it has been announced concerning the UK already, I didn't know. Yeah, it's a bit difficult, the thing with money, because in a recession. So okay, here's what I think, and it's not only me saying this, but you can look at it like cash is trash or cash is king. In a recession, I would argue that cash is king. By cash, I mean having the option to buy stuff. So let's say you have money in the bank, the inflation is eating on that money. But then the property market goes down and you see an opportunity to buy a house because now it's cheaper. So you buy that house for that money. You could, because you had that money. Now you traded the money you had in the bank for a property, and then after a few years, the property market starts rising again, and it will rise quickly, probably. It normally does after a recession. Sorry, got something in my eye there. So you will have made quite a lot of money. You can sell that house, and you could do that because you had cash. By cash, I mean not paper money in your pocket, but you had actually the opportunity to take that money and buy a house. And cash is trash is also true, but it depends on what you do with the money. But just leaving the money there in in the bank while the inflation is slowly eating on the value of those money. It's not so good, you know. Tapanjit, thanks a lot for the donation. Says that I am worried about my salaried job's future. Yeah, I hope you will be okay. So as GB says here, land would be the best option if you get into that and buy at the right moment. It's probably long term. If we talk about like a 10-year period, it's probably wise. But again, I'm not your financial advisor. Just saying that that's what I would do. That's what I might be doing as well. And also another thing, if you have a house, or maybe a house and a cabin, for instance, if you have most of your wealth in property, you're not as vulnerable if the property market goes down. If your plan is to reinvest in another property option or another house, if you will. Let's say you have a house and a cabin, and you really want to move to a bigger house with a bigger property. You will be in the same market, right? So you're not that affected by the recession, by the changing or lower prices. So you will maybe have to sell what you have at a lower price than what you hoped, but you will be buying something that is now priced much lower as well. So as long as you stay in that market, you're good. There are you will have it's changed. You will have different. It will be the property market will be affected differently in different sectors, right? So cabins, for instance, luxury cabins will probably the price of those will sink much more than the price of flats in the capital, because of the demand and so on. But it is in itself quite interesting. I find that the property market is I like to invest in property. Okay. Johnny says stocks are a better investment. Some would disagree. Silver and gold. Now, it's like um, I think that we shouldn't start a competition on what's the best option here. I'm just saying that for me, I kind of feel that I understand the property market. I like investing in the property market. It's not like I buy and sell every day, or even every month, even every year. But I sort of what we have done yet as up until this point has been wise, and the money we have put into property has increased a lot more than yeah. I'm not going to discuss my personal finances here, but um, yeah, okay. There are some strange perceptions about things going on here, so I would suggest look into the whole matter. Okay, if you want to invest in stocks, then go ahead. That's what you should do then. If you want to invest in precious metals, then go ahead and do that. Just make sure that you know what you're doing. Okay. Diversifying your investments is also wise. You shouldn't, unless you know what you. Let's see here. Kicked someone out there just now. Yeah, unless you know exactly what you're doing, pick up a book or two or 10 and read a little bit. So the numbers will tell you if what you're doing is intelligent or not. So okay, yes, exactly. Diversifying your investments is good, but also, if you are in such a situation that you can't really invest a lot of money, I would say that probably your best investment, and this is a financial advice that I will give you, okay? But it's not really a financial advice. If you have not so much money to invest, the way things are going now, I think your best option is to stock up on food and supplies, because you're going to eat that food anyway, and prices are going up. So you won't lose if you do that. You will save some money. It's probably going to be a good investment for you. Not talking about buying food for like $100,000 or anything like that. But it's just common sense. And I think a lot of people are in that situation. A lot of people right now, they don't have the option to invest. But yeah, so that's what I think. And Mountain Mariner Off Grid Alaska says best is to live simply, no debt. 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 It's a funny word. Okay. So that's what I wanted to say. Take a look at the links in the video description if you want to know about my other YouTube channels. I do live streams here on this channel. Yeah, let's see here. Lots of people here. That's wonderful. Wonderful. If you haven't already, give a thumbs up. If you think this live stream has been worth a thumbs up. Yeah, best investment is knowledge. That's a good point. And also, before I forgot to mention, you invest in your health, and that's for free. It can be done without spending any money at all. Start taking walks, stop eating the stuff that you shouldn't eat, and so on. Investing in your health is, it's the number one prep, as they say, and it's true. Invest in your health. Doesn't need to be complicated, and it's not. I think everyone can do that. And skills, yeah. Okay. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk later. Okay. Bye.